Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to another month of HospitaliTV Wine Club Wines. As always, thank you so much for your support. This month, we're gonna jump right into the wines. We are featuring Grenache. So one of my favorite grapes out there. It is probably one of the most widely planted grapes, also one of the most underrated in my opinion, and one that often gets forgotten about. So we have two delicious wines here tonight that I am featuring for this month's wine club. I'm super excited for you guys to try them out. Can't wait to hear if you like them and if you would buy them again. So a little bit about Grenache. So it is, like I said, one of the most widely planted grapes in the world. It's thought to maybe have been from a Sardinian origin, right? From an island off the coast of Italy, possibly from northeastern Spain. There's arguments to be made for both sides, but either way, it's definitely good to know that this grape makes some of the most outstanding wines in the world. If you're looking at the old world, right? You look at France, for example, there's a lot of Grenache being grown here. So if you look at the Rhone Valley in particular, which is where you see most of the Grenache coming from, a couple months ago for Wine Club Wines, we did Northern Rhone wines, right? A wine of Cornat, which was Syrah, predominantly Syrah in that area, right? And if you go to the Southern Rhone, we're gonna see Grenache-based wines, or what they also call GSM for Grenache, Syrah, and Mourvèdre in the wines from that region. Châteauneuf-du-Pape is one of the most recognized areas in this region, making phenomenal Grenache-based wines. They're starting to get a bit more pricey as there's more attention, as there's some really good wines that are coming out of the area. And then two neighboring areas, just for a quick little insider tip, you'll see Gigondas and Vacqueyras sometimes. They're two little villages outside of Châteauneuf-du-Pape. Similar styles of wine, also Grenache based. They tend to be a little bit less expensive because they're lesser known regions, but a lot of times you're getting this amazing quality. I actually did a little wine presentation on the area of Gigondas for another group, and we had this amazing wine. So excited about it. I almost wanted to put that one on here, but I feel like I've been giving you guys way too many French wines, so we had to explore some other stuff, right? Even though it is one of the classic areas. Anyway, you see these fuller, richer styles of wines from either Châteauneuf-du-Pape or the two neighboring villages I just discussed, Gigondas and Vacqueyras. Another big area that you're gonna see a lot of representation from, you're gonna see it in a lot of stores, is Côte-du-Rhône, right? These are also Grenache-based wines. They tend to be a little bit lighter in style than Châteauneuf-du-Pape. If you go to other areas like the southern part of France, like in Provence, almost all of the rosés there are being made from Grenache or Grenache-based blends. Amazing wines out of there. And then Spain, right? One of our featured areas tonight, Puriat. It's one of my favorite wine making regions ever. There's some amazing wines coming out of these regions. And then there's another smaller area called Montsant, which literally goes around. It's like a circle that encompasses the area of Puriat. Very similar styles of wines. They're Grenache based, but they're one of the few regions where you can actually blend in some thicker international grapes like Cabernet Sauvignon and Merlot and Syrah and Carignan. So you're getting kind of these more unique blends out of that area. Really cool stuff there. And then, like we discussed at the beginning, Sardinia, island off the coast of Italy next to Sicily. It's known as Canna now. There's some really interesting Grenaches coming out of there. Now, if you look at the New World, right, of course, it's going to be grown all throughout California from the warmer regions, which it's actually much more suited for. But you're also going to see some really cool climate Grenaches coming out of like Santa Rita, Santa Barbara area. And then the other region is Australia, actually South Australia. So like Barossa Valley, McLarenville. You can see some really cool Grenaches coming out of there. Those typically for me have a little bit more of this candied fruit, a little bit more sweetness on the palate in those styles of wine because it is a warmer climate. Sugars get more elevated, so on and so forth. But anyway, so that's a quick breakdown on Grenache. Let's talk about the two wines that we have for tonight. So I think we've been doing Old World first. Let's stick to that pattern. Coming up first, boom. We're gonna go to the area of Montsant, right? This is the wine from northeastern Spain. So as I was saying, it's almost like a circular appellation that goes around the area of Puriat, as we can see here on the map. It's a very unique area, very similar in style to the wines of Puriat. Again, you need to explore more wines from Puriat, please. It's one of the most amazing areas for Grenache, period. And then Montsant as well. I'm gonna group that in that category as well. So the producer here is actually Venus. Can barely even see it on the label, but Venus is the house. And their label here is Dido La Universal. That's what's actually listed on the bottle. You are gonna see the area of Montsant listed here as an area of production. And it's actually a collaboration between two winemakers, Sarah Perez and Renee Barbier. These are two extraordinarily well-known winemakers in the area of Puriat. It's actually their offspring who have started this project in Montsant, a project of their own. So really, really good heritage behind the wines. One of the things that I really like about this style of winemaking too is that they're fully certified organic, and they actually say on their website that they're doing wines in a natural style, which is pretty cool as well. So very hands-off approach, right? No added sulfites, no chemicals, which is always a great thing if we can get wines like that in the wine club. Okay, so this particular wine is 60% Grenache, 20% Syrah, and the remaining 20% is a blend of Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, and Carignan, right? So again, as we were saying, we are allowed to blend in some of these grapes. It's not unusual for the region at all, so I wanted to get something that represents kind of this style. With the international grapes, the Cabernet Sauvignon and Merlot, it's definitely gonna add a little bit of richness, a little bit more backbone in the blend. Another thing that's kind of cool too is that the majority of the wine is aged in large neutral oak, and then almost half large neutral oak, and then stainless steel tanks. So really, they don't want to use a lot of new French oak at all. They want to keep the purity of the fruit as one of the main focuses in this style of wine. So let's taste it. So right away in the nose, especially if you compare the two, which is kind of cool of having the advantage of having them side by side, this smells much more leathery and peppery. It's almost like a very trademark Spanish note for me when I get in these Grenache-based wines. But there's a lot of pepper, a lot of leather, a lot of dark flower and purple flowers. Let's see what it's like on the palate. Wow, so this is a very approachable wine, right? There's a lot of darker red fruit to the wine. Again, just as on the nose, one of the things that jumps out right away before the fruit is actually those same peppery, leathery notes that come through in the wine. It's very unique. There's almost like a sandy, slaty minerality to it. It's a very clean wine, right? Which is great too. We did mention that it's done in a natural way. Sometimes when you have these natural styles of wine, they can be a little bit funky. This is very clean and very focused, which I really like about the wine. Again, the non-fruit components, the pepper, the leather, those are things that jump out at me first on the palate, and then you're getting kind of this burst of really darker red cherry, bean cherry, almost a mix of blackberry fruit that's coming through, probably a little bit of that Cabernet Sauvignon and the Syrah that's blended into it, that's giving it that note. Very smooth on the palate, not a lot of big tannins, very medium bodied, but it's, again, like I was saying, very approachable. It's only 13.5% alcohol in the wine, which makes sense. It's right there in that medium body category at 13.5. And this real beautiful acidity that kind of lingers too. So this is actually really an elegant style of Grenache. You know, I think that's what they're going for. And they like to, Rene Barbier, I know, especially likes to try to compare some of his wines to a winemaking style of Burgundy, where it's all about the finesse and the elegance of the grape. I think that's definitely what they're trying to do here with this little side project that they have going. So that's a really killer wine. I hope you guys like it. That's a great old world representation of a Spanish Grenache. Let's move into New World. All right, so for the New World, we're gonna go to California. Boom. We're looking at the 2018 Skinner Grenache from El Dorado County, right? So El Dorado is east of Sacramento. It's kind of in the central part, backbone of California, west of the Sierra Nevada mountains. It's very warm, right? It's a very warmer part of California, which is great because, again, Grenache does like these very warmer / Mediterranean styles of climate that are very hot, and they allow the grape to get as ripe as it needs to make really quality wines. So it's good. It's a really good reason for Grenache. What I love about Skinner is that they have a really cool story. The actual original facility goes back to the 1860s. This settler, this immigrant that came into the country, actually to the East Coast, moved out to the West Coast for the gold rush, and built what would be the original Skinner winery and distillery. And then much later, Katie and Kevin Skinner, who are the actual owners, the actual current owners, would be passing through this region, saw that there was a Skinner winery, went to go investigate, and they found that it was actually their great-great-great-grandfather who was the person that originally founded the winery, which is amazing in its own coincidence. It's a really cool little history there behind the winery. Apart from that, they're trying to focus on these grapes that do very well in these climates, such as Grenache, again with a very hands-off approach. And again, this is also, it's a 13.9% alcohol wine, which is something that I like. It's a little bit more medium plus bodied. Remember, Grenache can get very high in alcohol. A lot of the Chateauneuf pops that you're seeing come out these days can very comfortably be at 15% alcohol. And a lot of Grenaches from Paso Robles, like these warmer climates in California, are well up in those 15% for alcohol as well. So this is coming in at 13.9, which I like, just as a little side note. So this is 100% Grenache. They have about 15% new French oak. It's not a lot, which I like. It's just a little bit to add some backbone to the wine. So let's go ahead and taste it. So on the nose, this has much more of this kind of jammy, brambly fruit component, whereas this one was very peppery and kind of woodsy and leathery. There's more of a dominance of fruit. There's almost like a plummy fruit character to the wine right away in the nose. Let's see what it's like on the palate. Wow, this wine is delicious as well. It really packs a lot of overripe fruit into the wine, but it is very well balanced. It has a lot of fruit character that lingers, which is delicious, and this is very much a fruit dominant wine, but it's not a fruit bomb. I think there's almost like a port-like, sherry-like component to it, which I think is from the heat and from the ripeness of fruit, but it's not an overcooked wine. Don't let me mislead you with that kind of fruit component. It's very well balanced, it's very elegant. It almost reminded, there's a touch of this like aged honey port component to the wine. So again, very kind of developed red fruit, almost to the point of like plummy, but elegant at the same time. And it sits very smooth on the palate as well. I like this wine a lot. 13.9% alcohol. It tastes almost a little bit lighter than that. Again, it's very much in that medium body category, which I like. So again, a wine that is another thin-skinned grape, but that can ripen very fully. Great alternative to Pinot Noir if it's something that you like, that style of a riper, richer Pinot Noir. Yeah, I think elegant and well-balanced is one of the best ways to describe this wine. The tannins are very much in check. The alcohol, although while being a kind of a medium plus body wine, is very much in check also, very smooth. God, very elegant. So that's the breakdown on the true Grenaches, guys. Please let me know which one is your favorite. And also on this note, just want to throw it out there. If you've come this far, I definitely have a couple of ideas. I want to do some more focused regional tastings that I want to start to throw out to certain groups. I've done a couple in the past month, and I kind of want to open this up to the wine club where, say, we'll look at Grenache as a whole, right? And then we'll taste through 6 Grenaches from around the world. Or we'll look at Spain, for example, and we'll taste through 5 of the most popular wine styles in Spain, like Rioja and Puriat and other cool areas around the country. So just something I'm throwing out there. If you guys have any interest in that, I'll throw out an email and see who has a little bit more interest in following up with some of those wines. So again, as always, guys, thank you so much for your time. Thanks for the support, and we'll see you soon.